Hi guys, it's Tamra, the Judeo-Christian medium, and welcome to my channel. I'm so sorry I haven't been on in so long. I finally got my setup, yay! So I have so much to say. I've been channeling Michael Jackson for so long. He's here. He's flying around and he's like, it's a silver light. He's just flying all over the room, guys. He's been with me for such a long time. He's been on the back burner while I read for other people. I've seen him in the distance and I've been seriously channeling him for about a month. Hi, Michael. He's kind of like hovering. He's a bomb. He's like okay, he looks like I don't know if you guys have ever played badminton. He looks like he's on a silver badminton. He's just flying around. He's wearing a silver outfit, so it reminds me of Willy Wonka, and he's saying yes. I knew he was going to surprise me because I felt like I wrote a book on him here. So I was like, how are you going to surprise? He's like, I'm going to surprise you. So he's wearing that outfit from like the 70s that you saw in movies. It's like thick silver, like a Martian outfit with a belt. And now he's got like a white helmet. Yes, he's singing, I'm bad, I'm really, really bad. But he's dressed up like the bad kid in, sorry if I'm closing my eyes. He dressed up like the bad kid in Willy Wonka, the one who, is it Jimmy? The one who was bad, and oh, I hate that scene. Why he's like harassing me like a older brother. So he's like, yeah. Although he's not my older brother on the other side. We're both parents. He's like, how boring, but we're parents in our group, which I will explain in a minute. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. I actually thought that this read was going to be boring because I wrote down so much stuff. I do automatic writing too, but no, it's not going to be boring. He's like, if they can't handle it, he's like, tell them to click off. So, okay. Sassy. So, yes, he's needling me like a little brother and embarrassing me. I haven't filmed in so long. So you know, I don't like that scene. You know, that was like the worst scene for me in Willy Wonka for a child to watch. And he said, yeah. And he's going into his childhood memories. And he just wants you all to think about, please watch the Jackson 5. You can watch it on YouTube. I know people don't own all of his music. He's like, yeah, you could cheat and watch it on YouTube. He's like, I won't get the royalties. Because he's been like a stickler about getting royalties. But he wants you all to think about when he was in the Jackson 5 and he was a little boy. And that's why he brought that up. That's why he brought up Willy Wonka. He was a little boy in the Jackson 5, and not many people talk about this. He's showing me the singing, you know, they go, A, B, C, but he's showing me, don't remember the songs, I'll Be There. It's like romance songs and songs like Baby and breakup songs, and they've got this little boy singing these songs, and he didn't know what he was singing. He was a little boy, and he's saying this was very typical of, he's a little bit older than me, he's you know, on Earth, but he was of the boomer generation. I'm Gen X, but he's just wanting to remind you all of that time period, and he wants you to think about how some things have changed for the better, and how inappropriate it was that he was singing these songs, even though they were good, and people love them. He thinks that's great. But people didn't question, like, here's a little boy singing about, you know, very adult things. And, you know, it's not adult like he was accused of, which we will get into. Okay. He's going to sit up in the corner for just a bit because I have to introduce my spiritual team, because my channel is about much more than just channeling celebrities. And I will explain that. As you can see, my Navy shirt, I am here to represent the Galactic Federation, and the Galactic Federation watches over the Navy. And someday I will make a whole video on that, how I'm connected to that, how I was connected to that in a past life. And for those of you who fear warmongering and fear the United States military, because I'm wearing a Navy t-shirt and because I'm part of the Galactic Federation, please understand that they know all about warmongering and darkness that has occurred in the military. So, fear not. There is a reason for me wearing this, and you know, Archangel Michael oversees the United States Navy too. Okay, so we'll just leave that there. And I want to let you all know what Judeo-Christian means. So that means I am a Jewish Christian medium, which Jesus was, which the disciples were, which many people were, and I'll explain that in detail. I sort of have in some other videos, but I will do that in the future. But what it boils down to is I have connected with Jesus, the Archangels, the Galactics, who are all the same, and I am trying to practice and trying to bring forward all of the messages, Jesus likes to call them, he's here, suggestions. When he was here, he had suggestions for the Jewish people at that time, for them to have a better life. So I'm in the future going to continue to try to bring forward his suggestions. And he said you can take them or leave them. If you feel like you are a starseed, a galactic being, you might want to take the suggestions more seriously, as I will explain more on how each suggestion will help you. Okay, so I would like to pray to my spiritual team. Forgive me for if I just seem strange. I am channeling a lot of energy right now, and it's not linear. If you need linear, this is not the channel for you. We're gonna be bebopping all over the place. And yeah, I say things like bebopping, I'm old. Okay, they're telling me to center myself. I'm going to pray to them. I'm gonna try to explain who they are. Okay, so I'm going to thank them. We have God here who is all around us. God is, I'm just going to say he, that's how he comes to me, as his own entity who is all around us, and fractals are within us. They would like me to say, and Michael thinks this is very important, something that many spiritual people say, and many spiritual people even who have had near-death experiences say, that we are all one. And they would like to tweak that a little bit, and they would like to say we are all individual souls who are connected. Okay, and they think that it's very important. Michael thinks it's very important to say that, because saying we're all one can negate, can take away from people's autonomy, their individuality, their responsibility. And remember, Michael, as flamboyant, and he's like, don't use that word. I'm sorry, Michael. Okay, yeah, they're saying, okay, get back to the prayer. All right, so I'm sorry. Okay, they're all talking to me. Okay, so thank you, God. And the prayer that I say to my spiritual team, feel free to use that if you would like a prayer, if it resonates with you. I'm just going to say, thank you, God. Thank you for life. It's very simple. It's much more complex, but let's just narrow it down to thank you, God. Thank you for life. God comes, the energy comes towards me in this silver white light, and it passes through Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. And thank you, Jesus, for peace. So when I say thank you, you can also ask for. He's like, get on with it. Okay, thank you, Jesus, for peace. Jesus, the energy comes through to my right shoulder, where I want to thank Mother Mary. She sits on my right hand shoulder. Thank you, Mother Mary. Thank you for comfort. And then the energy comes over to Father Joseph, and it's still white and silvery to Father Joseph. And I want to thank you, Father Joseph, for stability. So now I have a little circle around me, and his light goes through them. So on my right in the circle, I have Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael, thank you for protection. And then, I said that kind of strangely. And then it goes in a circle over here, and I have Archangel Metatron. Archangel Metatron, thank you for entertainment. And then Archangel Metatron connects to, right here, I have Archangel Eric Medhus. Archangel Eric Medhus, thank you for connection. Without Archangel Eric Medhus, I could not connect to the people who have passed that you all want to know about, I want to know about, who come to me. My channeling, and I couldn't connect to my team, so thank you, Archangel Eric Meadows. And Archangel Eric Meadows sits right here because he's part of Archangel Uriel, which I will get to in a minute. And so sitting right in front of me is Archangel Gabriel. I want to thank Archangel Gabriel for acceptance. So remember, if you need any of these things, you can pray to them for that. So thank you, Archangel Gabriel, for acceptance. So now going out, so I said this white silvery light comes through, and it's white, and then it gets indigo, and then it gets like red. So it's the rainbow. And I've explained it before, that's how the rainbow was developed. It's from these archangels, also known as galactic beings, and it shoots through the earth. And they remind us with rainbows when they're here. And okay, so it goes through like red, yellow, and it goes back to indigo. And with Gabriel, there's a lot of orange, red and yellow swirling, and then it goes out, Archangel Michael's indigo, and now we're going out to the outer circle. And I want to thank Archangel Sandalphon. Thank you, Archangel Sandalphon, for intelligence. Right next to Sandalphon is Archangel Raphael. I want to thank Archangel Raphael for healing. Thank you, Archangel Raphael. Sorry, he's done so much for me today. Thank you, Archangel Raphael. All these words came to me as I was seeing him. Right next to Raphael is Archangel Azrael. Thank you, Archangel Azrael, for organization. Next to Azrael, this is the outer circle, we have Jophiel. Thank you, Archangel Jophiel, for magical beauty. Now we have Archangel Uriel, which is me. Thank you, and I've explained that in other videos, and I will further explain that. Thank you, Archangel Uriel. Thank you for my mission. I've explained missions before. You can check out other videos. So now we're going out and over to the left again. We have Archangel Zadkiel. Thank you, Archangel Zadkiel, for balance. Next to Archangel Zadkiel is Archangel Jeremiah. Thank you, Archangel Jeremiah, for wildness. Thank you. Next to Archangel Jeremiah, we have Archangel Raguel. Thank you, Archangel Raguel, for swagger. Next to Raguel, we have Archangel Chamuel. Sorry, this side is always rowdy. Thank you, Archangel Chamuel. Guys, I need to concentrate. Thank you, Archangel Chamuel, for calmness. Thank you, Archangel Chamuel. Thank you, Archangel Ezekiel. Here's Archangel Ezekiel. Thank you for nutrition, Archangel Ezekiel. Next to Ezekiel, we have Archangel Haniel. Thank you, Archangel Haniel, for sleep. Next to Archangel Haniel, we have Archangel Daniel. Thank you, Archangel Daniel, for humor. And we also have the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, and the Tall Whites. And if you'd like to figure out if you have an influence, a galactic influence, you can check out my videos to see if maybe you have a galactic influence. Now, I showed you the rainbow. These are the Archangels. Michael Jackson is, sorry, he's talking to me. He is Michael. He is, wow, okay. This makes so much sense. Michael Jackson is Archangel Metatron, who brings us entertainment, and Archangel Raphael, who brings us healing. This makes so much sense, guys. So he tried to heal through entertainment. That's, yes, we are the world, heal the world. Okay, so I don't know if I explained, okay, yes, they're telling me to explain how the archangels are galactic beings. And if any of you have watched near-death experiences, some people say they met an angel, some people say they met a prophet, some people say they met galactic beings. It is all valid. When God created humanity on Earth, there were already other planets with other planetary beings. Now, the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Tall Whites, and the Reptilians all got together to help God create humanity. So humans are either one or a mixture of those galactic influences, and reptilian being the most earthly. So this is going to come in handy for the reading. That's a basic understanding. And I know many of you have heard of all of these different, they're saying Anunnakian, different admirals. This is all valid, guys. So in addition to how humanity was created on Earth, there are all kinds of helpers, all kinds of beings. And like Michael was saying about our individuality, we all have our soul tribes. And Michael is saying, this is a common thing I experience in my readings and in my comment section, do not be jealous of people who have different galactic influences. They're saying, trust us. Now they're all talking. It's that idea, throwing your troubles into, having a group of people throwing their troubles into a center, that you'd want to take back your own troubles. Whatever we are doing, we were meant for that. And especially reptilians, that's become a bad word. Of course, you do not want to be a dark reptilian, which I've explained. Which Michael had a lot of dark reptilians in his life, and dark reptilian energy. Michael had a target on his back from the minute he was born. Michael is two archangels together. He is Pleiadian, he is Arcturian, and he's a tall white. And he has not been on Earth that many times. That's why he was awkward. So, flighty, incredibly talented. He was here to bring joy. He was here to bring healing through entertainment. He was not here to hurt anybody. He didn't hurt anybody. He did not hurt children. So within that whole group of archangels, the archangels towards the right are the grandparents. That's where Sandalphon is, and Michael is. So that group are the grandparents, and it is much more complicated than this, but this is how I can explain it. These are the grandparents, the tall whites. Yes, and each galactic influence sits in a different area. So we've got the grandparents, and Michael is a parent, and this is very important why I'm telling you. Michael is a parent of the galactic beings. Now this is the the highest realm of the galactic beings, and it just shoots down. And if you find out you're a grandchild, you have benefits. It doesn't mean you're not as important. Mr. Rogers is saying we're all special. We all have our place. Trust me, in this group, you want to be a grandchild if you feel you are a galactic being. You're spoiled when you're on the other side, even if you've had a hard time here. Okay. Sorry, they're really wanting me to teach this. This is actually my mission. Well, my mission as Archangel Uriel is to help people find their, sorry. Okay. It's to help people find, yes, to find their mission. But this is what they want me to teach. So Michael is saying, he's got his head down. He is a parent. People were so confused by that. His people in his life, especially reptilians and dark reptilians, they don't understand a galactic being, an archangel, a spirit who is a parent. There's nothing he could do. He saw every child as his child. That's why he built Neverland. That's why he had children stay with him. A parent has children stay with him. That's why he had movie nights. That's why he took care of children who had cancer. He gave so much money, guys, to children. And I understand if you've ever watched testimonies of we will get into who accused him and why they did it. And this is very, very important for our generation, the generations that came before us, this time period. This is big in our lifetime. Figuring out this energy and why this is happening. So Michael Jackson could not help being a parent. I'm a parent too in this group. So I can be annoying. I can be parentified in groups, but it comes at a cost. People battle parents. People battled Michael. So that's why they saw the duality of Michael. That's why he was a Virgo. And yes, today is August 25th. I always forget the details. August 25th, 2023. Tomorrow, yeah, he's saying yes, actually. Tomorrow is his birthday. They will be celebrating. And he will be talking to other mediums tomorrow. Okay. He wanted me to film this today. I wanted to film it tomorrow. And he said, just trust me. He wants me to get this information out. Yeah. So, okay, I trust you. I'm doing it today. But his birthday is tomorrow. If you'd like to celebrate, they see you, they feel you. If you'd like to, he said, treat yourself. Treat yourself. Yeah. Go get a cake. Go get something. He loved cake. That was his secret. He said, dirty little secret. He loved, yeah, even though he was a parent, he loved being around kids. He loved acting like a kid. It was also an excuse to like eat junk food and things like that. And so now, guys, energetically, you understand why he was around children. Yes, on the earthly realm, he was abused growing up, okay? He had intimidation, showing me from his father, anger, intimidation, he didn't need it, guys. He was an archangel, one of the most talented people who have ever been on planet Earth. And he has his father, Joe, when he was here, was a dark reptilian, okay? Joe Jackson was a dark reptilian. Now, this is a whole other thing that I've explained, and it's common in this time period, going back a few decades, and it will be going forward. Well, you know, they're telling me that this has always been the case since for a long time. I will explain it more, so I will explain it in other videos, but for the most part, humanity has almost always been at spiritual warfare, and we are at spiritual warfare now. And many have come in, many starseeds, even the grandchildren. And I know some of you have had readings with me, and you know that you're the grandchildren of this group, and they want to say you decided on the other side. Who are the grandchildren? Pretty much it would be someone who is just Arcturian or just Pleiadian. It's not as simple as that, but you know, if you don't have any tall white influence, you are probably a child or grandchild of this group, or even like a descendant. So what Michael did and what many have done is come here as a galactic being, as a highly sensitive, either highly intelligent, highly talented, a mixture of it, and has come here to break a generational curse in his family and do his talent. Now, he had the energy to do that. Many souls have passed and had near-death experiences that were just the children or the grandchildren, or have had profound spiritual experiences because their energy, their entertainers, talented, creative types have come here with a dual purpose to, yes, do their mission, but they have a dual mission. Part of the mission, and they've made sacrifices to come here, as part of their mission is to break the generational curse in their family. What does that mean? That means at some point, galactic DNA family lines, galactic family, you guys understand what I'm saying? Galactic lines have been corrupted. That's the best way I can put it. By galactic beings having children with reptilians, reptilians and dark reptilians. So dark being the worst, basically corrupting their bloodline, extinguishing their bloodline. So this goes into why am I talking to you? Why? I mean, he was here to entertain. He was here to heal through entertainment, and that was beautiful. But also, part of this healing, guys, is to understand this is no joke. Like, this spiritual warfare. And I don't mean to be a fear monger, because I do understand a lot of people have just found spirituality and they're in the love and light place, and that's wonderful, especially if you are Pleiadian, Arcturian, or mixture of just those two. That's really good energy for you. But please understand, if any of you have experienced narcissism in your life, in your family, child abuse, manipulation, anything dark, it is most likely your mission to work through that. And hopefully you found this channel and other channels. Please study everything you can about the dark triad personalities, about Machiavellism, psychopathy, narcissism, everything, to understand, if you feel like you've been negatively affected by that and you would like to learn more, and you would like to prevent falling into the same trap, being with a dark reptilian energy, also known as a narcissist, and getting they're showing me like in someone's web, because that happened to Michael. Okay, so this is a long one, guys, but this is not for the faint-hearted, and this is not, this is not a quick, it's a mixture of an energetic read. It's the whole shebang. It's what my team would like to tell you, plus I did automatic writing, which I'm going to get to now. Okay. Guys, I wrote so much that I want to show you. I created a folder, a Michael Jackson folder, where I'm going to keep his information in. So I might do a part 2, most likely. Oh my goodness, this was a lot of work. They have helped me so much though, guys. I'm already starting to lose my voice, okay. So, Michael Jackson came here to be an inspiration. And so the children that he picked, he loved all children, but he would pick certain children to be with them for a certain time because he saw potential in them, and he wanted to, he said, not only help them with their potential, but he also saw negative influences. He didn't talk about it. He was a gentle soul. He didn't tell people, hey, like, I think you need help. I think that I think you need physical help. I think you need your family needs money, or I think that there's something going on in your family where you need help. But he felt that, and that's why he wasn't he was not grooming children. He was helping them. Okay, so Michael Jackson was an icon, a musical icon of fashion, dance. He helped bring forth and perfect the robot dance and the moonwalk. And yes, he's telling me my favorite album of his is Dangerous, and that's a special album for him because it was before a lot of the drama took a really hard toll on him, and he was really coming into his own. All of his music has meaning and is healing. So even the music I talked about with the Jackson 5, he would like you to go through and listen to his music, find what you like. My favorite. I had a huge crush on him, and this makes sense because, the parents he's a soulmate of mine. So that means, like, had I met him in this lifetime, there is an opportunity to be either like friends or partners. That's complicated, but that's what a soulmate is for. And just to let you all know, galactic beings, starseeds have soulmates and twin flames. Reptilians have soulmates, and they have more soulmates. It's a whole different thing. Reptilians have more people that they would be compatible in with dating. And Michael wants to explain, this is why you can have two beautiful starseeds, or you all might see a really attractive celebrity and not be attracted to them because maybe they're a parent of yours, or vice versa. It gets very, very complicated, but let's move on. So yes, he healed through music. He passed away the same day as Farrah Fawcett, and I will get into that at another time. She is a galactic being. We'll get into her at another time. It was an awful day. So he was born August 29th, 1958, and he passed away June 25th, 2009. And he said, yeah, I had a particularly, I have a hard time with that word. I don't know why I use it if I have a hard time with it, but I had a particularly hard day that day. I was working as a flight attendant, and our AC broke, and then we find out, like, Farrah Fawcett passed away. Oh, I was going to Rome, and we were stuck on an aircraft with no AC, but we didn't want to go back to the gate, so passengers were freaking out. Like, I remember this one woman was almost fainting, and this was back when collectively the energy was like, let's just go, including the passengers. So people were freaking out. It was a terrible day for me, and I actually didn't really feel the weight of it because I was so preoccupied, and I'm sorry. So let's go back to the Jackson family. So we have Joe Jackson, who's a dark reptilian. Catherine is an interesting mix. This is where the galactic beings that were the Jackson children were able to come through Catherine. She is half reptilian, half Arcturian. And she was talented, but it was, with her personality at the time that she was born, her husband, the whole shebang, it was an undeveloped part of her. But unfortunately, she was, if you're familiar with narcissistic abuse, his mother, Catherine, was an enabler. Okay, and then we'll go through the kids quickly. Rebbe, Arcturian. Jackie, Arcturian. Tito, Arcturian. Jermaine is Arcturian and Pleiadian. LaToya is Arcturian, Pleiadian, and a tall white. Marlon is Arcturian. Brandon, Arcturian. Michael, we said Arcturian, Pleiadian, tall white, obviously an Archangel. Randy, Arcturian, Pleiadian, tall white. And Janet is Arcturian and Pleiadian. She's a grandchild. Now you can see, even though Michael Jackson is adorable, this is a perfect example. Janet is the grandchild. She like she literally has like a baby face. I mean, you did too. You do. And that's another thing. We come here with very similar characteristics every time, and that's a story for another day. Okay. And okay, so I'm just going to go through my notes. That final tour, this is it. He shouldn't have done it at all. He was not feeling well. Okay. And there are trade-offs too. These are, whatever you want to call it, deals we make on the other side, contracts, whatever verbiage you want to use. Michael Jackson, even though he was physically strong, he had lupus, he had vitiligo, so he had autoimmune disorders, and autoimmune disorders, we come here with those. So that was part of his being. If he comes here again, guys, he will have the same issues. Now, they may not be activated that hard. Autoimmune disorders are activated and exacerbated by stress and abuse, and he had all of the above. And so by the time he was doing This Is It, oh my goodness, physically this man had been through the ringer. He had lupus, vitiligo, he had his nose broken, which, you know, he had plastic surgery on. Now he's saying he may have had his nose fixed anyway. Had he not had it broken, he might have chosen to get plastic surgery, maybe, because his nose was made fun of. But he says he also had a pretty big ego. He was feeling pretty attractive. But if you guys want to know how the dark reptilian energy hammers you, it was hammering him through like his nose getting broken. So accidents, injuries, it's very confusing, guys. Some things are fated, and then many things, many hardships that we go through, especially like dating the wrong person, dating a narcissist, those kinds of things are oftentimes not in our life path. Yes, being born into a family, our mission, being born into a family where your parent, like, okay, so his mission, he was born into a family where his father was a dark reptilian, and he had to overcome that and break the generational curse, which he did with having his children, which we'll get into. His children are star seeds. So also, guys, pay attention. If you're really into this stuff, look at my community page, either here on YouTube or on Instagram, and I go through as many celebrities. I go through one a day, and I will be going through all of the people in Michael's life and putting them on my community tab as to who they are, and so I can go into more detail. But anyway, so part of his mission was dealing with that, but on his own, dealing with these accusatory people, this was extra. And this happens because we get into the energy of trying to fix, trying to help, either reptilians or dark reptilians. And, you know, sometimes it leaves you with not the best judgment. So, okay, let's, he shouldn't have toured at all. He was operating under fog, fear, obligation, and guilt. And it was from his manager, Randy Phillips. And he had me look that up. So guys, oftentimes, if you get an inkling to look something up, to investigate something, do it, especially if you feel like you are a starseed. That could lead you to something. Listen to your intuition. So this guy, Randy Phillips, really did a number on Michael Jackson. He is one of the people who is responsible for his passing. So Joe is responsible for putting Michael Jackson in that position of instability, of feeling like you have to work for approval, and feeling that you he gave him that energy of, like, they're showing me cracking the whip of, like, you know, yes, it's great that you have talent, but I'm gonna turn you into a workhorse. So because he had that imprint on him, he was susceptible to that. And guys, understand that. Understand that. How you talk to your children, how you treat your children is what they will accept and what they expect later in life. And this is even from an archangel. So, and this is to let you all know how hard Earth is. Earth is, they're saying, the only planet where we have free will, and that's what makes it so rough. But we chose to come here and deal with this. And okay, so Randy Phillips, yes. So he's saying, I wrote here, he was a star seed, an empath. He was loyal. Randy Phillips, the dark reptilian manager, music manager, played him so hard. Came to him and said, Michael, the public misses you. Let's just, I know you're not feeling up to par. Get yourself together and we'll do 10 shows. And he's like, okay. Should have said no. Should have set in a boundary. He said, okay. And then Randy did the bait and switch. Very typical dark reptilian move. Started playing with the press, saying we're gonna do more shows. It got to 20 and 30 and then 50, to a point where he got Michael a passport, a British passport. And guys, things just got crazy. So that's the deal with Randy. Randy, not Michael, hired this quack doctor, complete quack, Conrad Murray, who Randy was telling Conrad to give Michael propofol, which it's like an anesthesia like you get when you're going under for an operation. They many of you probably know this if you're Michael Jackson fans, but he was given this to go to sleep. He didn't ask for it. It was just a perfect storm. He was at this weird point in his life where he didn't have he had people who loved him. He had people he trusted, but he's a man, guys. He was not going to go to all these people. He was still close to many people in his life, he wasn't completely alone and vulnerable, but he was a man and he wasn't going to ask people what he should do. He got himself into a bind and he wasn't going to ask people how to get out of it. So he trusted, semi-trusted Randy Phillips, semi-trusted Conrad Murray, but just felt like he was in a bind. And guys, please, please, Michael is telling you, if you feel, use your intuition. If you feel like you're not well enough to do something and you signed up for something, he's saying, please be responsible, but don't do what he did. Don't hand your life over to someone else. Of course, he didn't know. Well, he did know, but he didn't know exactly how this was going to go down. For a long time, Michael knew that. It's funny how he's sitting here and he's this archangel. Sorry. Yeah, okay. A lot used to come from the right. Okay, this makes sense. So he knew because he was becoming independent and had bought the catalog for the Beatles, and these people who, oh man, these managers who were trying to basically extort his finances. It's gotten to that, guys. And this is not all people in the music industry, but the people he was dealing with. Okay. So he had that going on, and you all know what that led to. Now we're going to go backwards to the accusations. We have Wade, I wrote down the names, Wade, Wade Robson, who's a reptilian but was groomed by his family to accuse Michael Jackson. He, along with 30 other children from the very first accusation, all said that it didn't happen. And then as time went on, his parents exploited him and asked, manipulated him to do this to get, they felt that they were no longer getting things from Michael. And then the same with James Safechuck. Now, Michael saw talent in these two, and they both do have talent. Now, it's marginal compared to Michael, but it's there and it's valid. James Safechuck was also reptilian. Now, Jordy Chandler, this is very sad. Jordy Chandler is Arcturian, and Michael watches over him. Jordy Chandler was his first accuser. His father is, I want to swear, his father is a dark reptilian, and started the unraveling of Michael Jackson's life. Goodness. So Michael is saying that Evan Chandler is a fake dentist, and Dr. Conrad Murray is a fake doctor. And if you study law, if you're listening to this, if you'd like to check that out, it is crazy, but we are coming and have been coming into a time where we can't trust people's credentials. They say they're a doctor, they say they're a dentist, and Michael would like to let you know that there is so much malpractice out there. But on the other hand, there are also many star seeds who are good doctors, who are in the medical field. And there are also people who were meant to be in the medical field there's variations of all of this. Some, if you are listening to this and you are a doctor, unfortunately, if you spent a lot of money on your, I'll get to why, unfortunately, but if, say you spent a lot of money on your career, and nurses do too. Michael is saying this from his heart, he's saying, and from his experience here on Earth. He should have never done this tour, and what he's saying to people, he's going to broaden it past the medical field, but it's really hard for doctors and nurses to let go. Some of the malpractice comes from burnout. And he is saying, and Jesus is saying, guys, if you feel burnt out, please go do something else. Don't look at the money you've spent. Don't get stuck in the past. Just, they're saying if you are burnt out and you've done something like Michael, you had a career of singing, or you had a career of being a doctor, and you're burnt out, you will find something else, and it will, we're here for just a split second, and from their perspective, you know, not to be corny, but don't lose your joy. You could find joy in something else. And that's a message from him. He should have never done this tour. And Evan Chandler, Jordy Chandler's father, should have never been a dentist. And Dr. Murray Conrad Murray, it's a fake name, no wonder I can't remember it, should have never been, that wasn't his name and that wasn't his profession. Okay, so not to be gossipy, but Michael Jackson would like to tell you that his dad, not only being this dictator who they all softly, because of Catherine, called him like a disciplinarian, but he was a vicious dictator. Like many vicious dictators, was a hypocrite and had a second family, and hypocritically had them all, you know, go to church, and, you know, he wanted perfection from his family. A double standard, double life. Okay, so let's move on to Lisa Marie Presley. Okay, Lisa Marie Presley. Say the name right. The daughter of Elvis Presley. She is Michael's twin flame. So she is with him right now. She's chilling. She's in the background. She's processing. She was Michael's twin flame, and so that also means she is those two archangels, Metatron and Raphael. And her mission while she was here was to be Michael Jackson's wife, was to, her mom is reptilian, not dark, but just reptilian. She wanted to, you know, continue on the galactic bloodline, which is why Michael energetically really wanted to have children with her too, which she, unfortunately, Lisa, Lisa had a lot of pain and trauma because of her father's death and because of circumstances of not trusting people here. People, you know, she felt that people were not sincere in wanting to be with her, wanting to know her. So her mother preyed on that fear too. It wasn't malicious, but her mom was not trusting, and her mom looked at life from a sort of invulnerable reptilian angle and was feeding Lisa Marie's fears when she was with Michael. And it's so unfortunate, but she was also she had trauma. Priscilla, Lisa's mom, had trauma, and when you have trauma, guys, that is an open channel for dark reptilian energy to kind of, you know, it's that stinking, they call it stinking thinking, when, you know, you just are like in that dark space. But Priscilla was there, not fully. She wasn't a dark reptilian, but she was feeding off Lisa Marie's fears and telling her, like, and there's a little jealousy, but warning her, being a mother hen. They say mama bear these days, but being like, you know, you have to be tough, and you're, you know, you and your dad were loosey-goosey, and you have to be tough, and you have to have your boundaries with Michael, and you have to make sure he really loves you and he's not using you. And she got the idea, and then unfortunately Michael's not perfect, and he loved her so much, guys, twin flame. But yeah, sometimes he did grab her and kiss her, and, you know, he wanted to show people he was straight, because he was straight, guys. He did not like little boys. He did not like men. He was straight, and that's been proven over and over. Brooke Shields came forth and said it. Diana Ross, Lisa Marie Presley, sorry, there's a couple ways to say that, Presley, she said it, but Michael was human. And yeah, it's okay sometimes to use your partner a little bit for something. Michael is saying, guys, oh, starseeds are hard on each other. He's like, we'll collectively put up with this crazy behavior from dark reps. I'm now giving them nicknames, or toxic people, and hold our starseeds, our soulmates, our twin flames to this high standard. And he just wishes he had, either him or her had this knowledge to know that life wasn't going to be perfect with each other, and people make mistakes, and that was one of the mistakes he made. And then another one was that he was like, they just got into, they're showing me playing chicken. He wanted to have children with her, and he kind of overdid it, saying like, you're the one I want to have children with. And then that played on what her mom said, like, Michael Jackson just doesn't want you, which is a terrible thing to say. wants Elvis's children. Now, in a very big spiritual way, Elvis is Archangel Gabriel. This had all been planned. Yes, he did want the galactic lineage. That was the mission. But she got upset and pulled away, and then he freaked out, and they both hurt each other really badly. Instead of, this is an opportunity, this is where Jesus, said practice forgiveness. It's in situations like this, not meaning put up with, narcissistic or dark reptilian energy, but when you find a good partner and you feel it and you know they're a good partner, but they're pushing on something. He said all they had to do was just give each other a break and say, okay, let's think about this. And instead, he did a knee-jerk reaction. He had children with Debbie Rowe. Now, Debbie Rowe is a tall white. Debbie Rowe was actually a friend of his. There was attraction. Debbie Rowe is a soulmate of his. Now, it was not the plan for him to have children with her, but it also wasn't nefarious. It wasn't dark like people think, like the media made it out to be, like she was some sort of surrogate. They were friends, they were lovers, they weren't compatible to be together forever, but she was a soulmate, and they have galactic children. But unfortunately, had he stayed with Lisa Presley, who was also just eaten up with guilt and despondency at times because she was not with her twin flame, which really hurts, but they had too much pride to get back together. They should have mended ways, but unfortunately that didn't happen. They are together now. They're working on things. Let that be a lesson, you guys. And I know it's just really hard. I've given readings to starseeds who are in separation with a soulmate or a twin flame, and they've sometimes thought my advice was strange in either staying separate or getting back together just because of our earthly knowledge. So let's move on from that. Okay. Yes, so her, Lisa, was meant to be Michael Jackson's wife. She was meant to be a mother. She was meant to sing. She wasn't meant to be like a on the road singer, like a big star like Michael Jackson, but she did have talents, and she was here to work on those talents. They could have sang together, and of course, if we didn't lose Elvis, they could have all, that's another rabbit hole. Okay, he did trigger her. Michael was a workaholic. He was a star. You can see how it brought up things from her childhood, abandonment issues, things that she didn't allow herself to feel because she was so privileged. And that's a problem with being privileged, is oftentimes you don't allow yourself to mourn, to grieve, and sometimes feeling sorry for yourself. Sorry, I'm in New York, you can hear the sirens. Sometimes feeling sorry for yourself is necessary. You don't want to stay stuck there, of course, but you're allowed to feel bad. she didn't fully process her abandonment issues, because she was always told how great it was, like, to have the king be her father. And then, you know, same thing was repeating with Elvis, but, you know, so, I mean, I'm sorry, with Michael. Thank you. So, yeah. She felt abandoned by him when he was working. And that added to the other feelings that, you know, were put in her head, the other ideas. So, yes. And so she also was so hard on him with she's thinking these negative thoughts, like, I feel abandoned, he's not well because of his health, and he did take medication for his health, and she's thinking like, oh, this is like my dad with the substance use, which I'll get into at another time. So they really, really triggered each other. And then something that soulmates and twin flames can do too is there's this, not only do we trigger each other, but then there's this also feeling let me have some water. Oh, my back. So there's this feeling of like, that no matter, it's such a weird dichotomy that there's also this feeling that you can get away with more, or it can bring out our worst traits, and you can feel like stranger, like no matter what you do, you're not going to break up. And she was acting a bit bossy with him, patronizing, motherly. That's not good for any relationship, even if you are galactic, even if you're at Archangels. Like, when you come here to Earth, you are also human. And the masculine is the masculine energy, and the feminine is the feminine energy. And masculine energies do not like being bossed around. They see it as, feel it as disrespect and as emasculating. She didn't realize that the advice she was getting from her mom was actually emasculating Michael. And that was like a really bad thing, because the press was emasculating Michael. The accusers were emasculating him. And he was even though he had the soft voice, because he hasn't been to Earth that often. He's an archangel. And as many of you know, archangels operate on, it's like light language and beautiful sounds and beautiful music. People make fun of Mr. Rogers. He's very soft-spoken. But Mr. Rogers and Michael Jackson were very masculine. It's just not in the same masculine way that we see all the time. Oh goodness. Okay. So and that didn't make her happy either. She came here as a divine feminine, and it did not make her happy to act masculine. And that's a big energy that's going on right now. This is no judgment for who you actually are, But if you came here to be the feminine and you're deep in your masculine energy, you will not feel well. And if you came here as the masculine and people keep trying to emasculate you, being abused as a child, his father emasculated the children, and I guess, I don't know how to put it, defeminized the women. That's what abuse does. That's the core, that's the nature of the dark reptilian energy. That's not all of it, but that's a big part of it, is a dark reptilian parent or energy will emasculate the masculine and defeminize the feminine. So that's basically destroying the essence of who you are. And we're seeing that now. And that's a whole complicated, big issue that we'll talk about at another time. So let me go through this. Yeah, they were victims of their time. But Lisa also stood up for him in interviews and for what she had gone through, guys, and the time period that she was in, and how news people, like, not, what are they called? Interviewers, the media, my goodness, the way that they interviewed stars, it's despicable compared to what people will put up with nowadays. They acted like judge and juror, and they had people on their shows to attack them, and Lisa stood on her own. She stood her ground. She would not let them make fun of Michael, even though they tried so hard. And she's proud of that. He's proud of that. And I just find that to be amazing. It's trust for that time period. Yeah. What we as a collective had in our minds, even she had stage fright and being uncomfortable, she just stood up for him, and that's awesome. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so he wants me to count something. Yeah, sorry. Okay. This is interesting. So, how do I explain this? If any of you are familiar with near-death experiences, I've had near-death experience, I've had outer body experiences, I've had galactic experiences. Obviously, I'm a medium. I will talk about this at another time, but a positive did come out of his, I mean, it would have happened anyway. This shouldn't have happened, but thankfully, Michael was such a sensitive soul, and many of you maybe have experienced this. When he was physically attacked by Joe, he left his body, and some of the his brothers and sisters, Michael was channeling when that happened, and was trying to talk, would come through like an adult talking to his dad, but he actually, what happened was he left his body. He would have out of body experiences. He would join this angelic realm when he was being physically attacked. So I don't want to say it was a benefit, because there is no benefit to that. I hope I'm not flagging my channel, but to physical, you know what, I don't know, I've already said it, but there is no benefit to that. But at least he was connecting to his spiritual team. He's saying he didn't even need any, honestly, he's not saying was like a perfect child, but he did not need that kind of discipline. He didn't even need to get yelled at. That's the ridiculousness of that time period and of dark reptilians, is like doing something so unnecessary. And it was just for, you know, obviously for his dad's ego. It's just, you know, I try not to judge. I just can't, I don't, yeah, we'll move on. You know, Lisa's, they're regretful. They could have saved each other. That whole situation played on her passing. It manifested itself physically. Okay. Just wrote down some of his albums: Off the Wall, Beat It, Billie Jean, Thriller. I think many of you know this, but his song I'm Bad, and Beat It too, those were jokes. Like when he was like, I'm bad, he's just making fun of that toxic masculinity and I guess gangster life. And he said some people took that seriously. Like he was like, oh, I'm bad. And, you know, many people just take things at surface level, especially in that time period. They just saw someone wearing leather singing I'm bad, and you know, that's really wacky. I remember I went to a piano bar last summer. Last summer. I was talking to a guy, he bought me a drink, and we were listening to nice piano music. And I connect with my team listening to music every day. You know, I will make a video about that. I've talked about that, but that day I was listening to Led Zeppelin, which is downloaded from the Galactics. That's a whole story on its own. And he's like, what kind of music do you like? And I said, oh, well, today, you know, we're here listening to this, listening to Led Zeppelin. And he's just like, what? Like, he is totally judging me. And then I was like, what kind of music do you like? He's like, this kind of music. I guess piano bar music. I was like, okay. And I just stopped talking to him. He was so mad. But like, really, dude? Okay. Anyway, Michael is asking me to tell this story for a reason. People judge on surface things. Like, you know, he's trying to bring all these ideas out to the public, and you know, he had his finger on the pulse, and he's wearing the red leather outfit right now. And he's like, you love it, you love it. And it's like, he's teasing me because oh my God, I had such a crush on him when he sang Billie Jean. Oh my God, you guys, he's like, but when that combination of the black leather pants and the pink Oxford shirt, that's when he really was in combination, because so we're talking about his masculinity. He was in touch with his feminine side too. He just wasn't toxic. He wasn't a toxic masculine. He said, you know, sometimes like when he did that thing kissing Lisa, but for the most part, no. Yeah, so Michael Jackson broke racial barriers, as many did at the time, and people who came before him. He was experimenting with rap. He says some of it, like drill rap, is some of it has really gone downhill. We don't want to fully judge that too, but it's just not. Some of it is not bringing forth, you know, good energy. Unfortunately, he doesn't want to get too into it. He's saying politics have gotten in the way too. This whole divide and conquer. He's watching everything that's happening now and talking through me about like where he was, where we are now, and what has happened. Yes, so he's saying like, if you look at his music at the time and some of his songs and black or white, and what he was doing at the time, and he's saying like even like what Madonna was doing and how all races were working together, even up to, he's saying Uptown Funk. And yes, if you look on my community page, the people I've been channeling, this is all them telling me who to channel and who's on their mind and why. And so they want you all to see that the races were working together and healing. And he's like, heal the world, make it, like he was part of that. And the politics that came at, you know, slowly creeping in, dividing, divide and conquer. It's the dark reptilian energy came through our world leaders, and it's trying to destroy all that these artists, not all, but you know, the ones I channel, they have messages and of peace and mending and healing, and that's what he was doing. And now they just are talking about, oh man, Michael's just saying, he's talking about this woman that I channeled, Barbara Gustern, this young dark reptilian, visited New York City last year and was in a bad mood, young girl, and just pushed down this woman, Barbara Gustern, a starseed. This is a part of the spiritual battle, a spiritual warfare, you guys. Pushed her down. She's in her 80s, so she passed away. She just got 8 years, guys. And Conrad Murray got like 4 years, and they're talking about this, and this is insane, guys. Like, Michael was taken out by this doctor, and also these managers are responsible just for a few years in prison. And Lauren Pazienza, she's going to be in her 30s when she took out Barbara. She's 8 years, you guys. Pled guilty, got 8 years. This is making, they're fine on the other side. Okay, there was much more that they wanted to do here, especially Michael and Lisa. And they fulfilled their missions in some ways by having starseed children. And, well, Michael, that wasn't Lisa's deal. But it's still tragic, and energetically they were taken out by dark reptilian energy. The problem is, now that's been happening, okay? The problem is society is letting this happen. Like here in the States where I live in New York. This happened in New York. Like, this is wrong. That's okay. We'll move on from that. So, as a messenger, he's concerned about this divide and conquer energy, victimhood energy that they are trying. The dark reptilian energy is trying to find any group that will latch on to victimhood, because victimhood is one of, Michael's saying, one of the lowest energies. He keeps changing outfits. He's wearing overalls now he's got like a grass thing in his, and he's wearing like a straw hat. He's basically showing how things are going backwards. But be careful, guys. That's the energy where the dark reptilian energy can really get you, is playing into your victimhood. And many of you, I don't want to smile at the camera because it's like, many of you are victims, okay? And the team, the galactic energy understands, the galactics understand that. Jesus, God, understands that, okay? We're not taking away from that. But getting stuck in that victimhood is just going to allow the dark reptilian energy to further take advantage of you. And that's what's happening. And he's calling out substances, gangs, GTA. He's judging right now the horrible fashion. It's not helping. Just basic trashiness. This needs to be addressed. He said he's sorry. He's a Virgo. He's a galactic being. They don't like trashiness, okay? They're not going to come through me and say like, hey, trashy, cool, okay? It lowers your vibration. This whole era of being trashy clothes, trashy food, trashy behavior, no bueno. Oh, he said that, he was telling me about his maid that came forward. If you ever want to watch her testimony, if you ever want to really see what like a liar looks like, watch her testimony. Watch her interviews. Okay, so he said he wants to bring back pride, just pride in oneself. He understands the dual meaning there, and he's, supports everybody. So he wants people to work on their appearance, their jobs. He was really he was a workaholic. How you smell, what you wear, how you take care of yourself. Don't go to bad doctors, don't go to bad dentists, and get all your checkups. Especially if you're a starseed, you probably have some sort of social, what is it? How do I put this? Like issue, social, mental, starseeds struggle here a bit. Oh, so obviously I've told everyone this, he is an archangel, a galactic being. Yes, okay, please understand this. And please understand this is why he and Lisa Marie struggled. And this is a thing that neurotypicals take advantage of. He's autistic. On the other side, that's normal, okay? Here, his way of being was autistic. And that's how it's not just about his upbringing that made it worse, but autistic and ADHD, okay? And that explains creating Neverland, his need for play, even though like he was a parent figure, this is a very starseed thing, like loving, playing and fantasy and all of that. And it goes along with his autism, and that's part of the reason why he and Lisa struggled, is because they didn't trust their heart-to-heart connection. he's showing me ET. They didn't trust that. He's singing "Turn On Your Heart," but because the whole being on the spectrum and being already taken advantage of it, if you are on the spectrum, they would like you to work on how to recognize your differences and recognize neurotypicals and how to communicate better, and what people are trying to say to you, and try to make more eye contact. And it's hard. You can see I'm all over the place. But this is to protect you. And then this is a big part of why he was taken advantage of too. He did astral travel, and he did astral travel when he had you can look up what an out-of-body experience is. When he visited the team, he had many metaphysical experiences while he was sleeping, while he was awake, while he was on stage. That's why he loved being on stage. That's when he was connecting to the other side and connecting to his true essence. He's saying there's even a magazine, Essence. So yes, he would like you on a logical, earthly plane to please investigate the accusations against him and please see that they were unfounded, ungrounded. And one of the biggest things that he's uncomfortable talking about, but is none of them could identify what Michael Jackson looked like from the waist down. They were completely off base because he had never exposed himself to little people. Never. And that was a saving grace. And he's saying, thankfully, he had never had like a tape out there or a picture of him, because then he could have really been in trouble. And you may ask yourself, why did he settle with these people? He was busy. Court takes time, energy, effort. It's a circus. He didn't want to continue. The more, people are busy with their own lives. They just keep hearing this. I remember thinking it was true. Why would you hear about this so much? And unfortunately, with myself not being a medium or a practicing medium at the time, I would get flashes. I would get upset for no reason, like when he was accused of things, but it just, I didn't understand it. I was so preoccupied with what I was doing, and unfortunately, Earth is so hard. We all get preoccupied, but if you have the time, you can go down that journey. And he's very sad for the people who were pressured into accusing him. They've suffered greatly. And he tries to watch over them because he understands what happened to them. He's saying Diana Ross was a soulmate of his. She's a tall white. Elizabeth Taylor is like a soulmate friend type soulmate. She's Pleiadian and Arcturian. As we all know, he's the king of pop. He hangs out with Elvis the King, who is Archangel Gabriel. And he's here. He's in the background. He's like, I'm trying to be cool. I'm just trying to lay low. It's not easy for you. And just to let you guys know, they make fun of me all the time. They're relentless. They're giving me thicker skin. So, obviously Michael Jackson was in the Hall of Fame. One of the best-selling artists of all time. Unfortunately, his family should have stuck together. Had they stuck together, people would not have messed with him so much. But what they really just wanted was money. But underneath the money is the energy, jealousy. And this is why I really need to get out there. We are going through a period of reptilian pride, which in some ways is good. Reptilians, you can go to my playlist and look up what it means just, to be a reptilian, not a dark reptilian, but reptilian, and how they work in groups. And You know, Michael's saying he really wants that to come back, people to have that pride of community, and it's to offset, like, there has been this big, massive, like, jealousy and everybody wanting to be a star, saying everybody having a channel, and it's just not the reptilians have life paths. It's just not their life path. It makes them miserable. And as me as Archangel Uriel, I'm supposed to help people with their mission and their life path. So got the worst thing you could do is try to be someone else. And you know, Michael tried to help people with their talent, but it was hard to help them when them and their families got so jealous of his talent. He could not give his talent to someone else. You know, he wishes he could tell them, like, he can tell you, be grateful of what you were given. A lot of reptilians were given a closer family than he had, more love and support. We're not physically punished. We're not estranged. He was lonely. Okay. I think they got the point. So he's bringing up his great-grandfather was Native American. That was the starseed lineage, a medicine man. His name was Jack Gale. He was Pleiadian, Arcturian, and tall white. I'm not going to get into Michael's past lives. It's we only have so this is going on for a while, and definitely. Okay, I wrote here, Joe could feel that energy as a dark reptilian. He had marginal talent as a musician, incredibly jealous of his children. Yeah. And of course, I'm kind of going backwards. That's what we do here. Michael Jackson was a singer, songwriter, and dancer, a huge philanthropist, talked about this. One of the most significant cultural figures of the 20th century, had a 4-decade career. So this is how he started to come to me, guys. Like, he had been hovering, and it's through music that I've noticed. They'll have me, I started listening to Motown and 50s music, and getting into it. And I even bought, like, I know I'm not dressed like it now. This is for a purpose. Right now I'm coming to you as part of the Galactic Federation, but this summer I've worn ribbons in my hair, and you know, just, we used to call the pants pedal pushers, but they're like you know, the type of pants, like summer pants, kind of fitted at the ankle. Not, what are those called? Not those tight jeans. Anyway, they get me all into, it's like we're a collective. We get into, I can feel the energy, and I like that too. They're helping me with stuff I like, but it's just been a time with him of getting into that 50s music. It's beautiful, the romance of it. okay. When I'm reading my notes, it's automatic writing. So this was him talking to me, just to let you all know that too. I wrote from him, he's hovering. He's like, zip, trying not to say something, but I wrote, I was genteel. He was genteel in his mannerisms, and that's why he came across the way he did. And he was into romance and also being silly. And this is something, sorry guys, I'm so thirsty. I've had some starseeds reach out to me and tell me their jealousy of the tall whites, you know, their stoicism, the respect that they garner. And Michael would like to point out, he is all three and I am all three, and that presents itself with some positive things you can see here how I flip from being silly to being nerdy to being ADHD to being serious. Sometimes I look at you, sometimes I'm just out of it. That's a combination of the three, the Pleiadian, Arcturian, tall white. It's misunderstood, and us being the parents of the group. How do I put, I can't say that, like, we get a lot of SHIT from people. Sometimes Michael experienced this, Lisa, myself, other people in our group. We can be seen as fake because we are really a bridge between all the groups. Sometimes we, as much as we struggle, can communicate better or care to communicate better with, say, like all of us, with all of the energies, so we can communicate sometimes better with tall white than, say, just an Arcturian. And sometimes we are a bridge to the reptilians, but that comes at such a cost. He was, because of his energy, because of his kindness, people saw that as a way in, and because he cared for people, they saw it as a vulnerability. And you know, it's not that we're victims. He doesn't want you to feel sorry for him. He just wants you to understand, especially if you're a starseed and you don't have that tall white. Please, you know, be grateful for what you do have, because sometimes it comes at a cost. Okay. And it can appear confusing. It can even appear fake. Like, you know, let's go back to me talking to that guy at a bar. Like, that guy was probably 10, 15 years older than me. And I carried on he's reptilian, but I carried on a completely mature conversation with him. And then I bust out that I was listening to Led Zeppelin, and all of a sudden he's like, "Who are you?" And that happens a lot. We can appear to be fake. You could meet us while we're in a tall white mood, or a Pleiadian mood, or an Arcturian mood. I mean, I've had people be so mad at me, you know, thinking I'm one way, and then another part of my personality comes out. So I'm bringing this up, and I don't mean to bring it back to me. It's just to help explain his situation. He didn't like that. That confused him. He didn't understand why people didn't understand that he could be like so talented and funny and a good dresser and wacky and weird and sensitive but strong, and he got it. He felt like he didn't judge other people for not being all of that, but people judged him for being all of that. So they wanted him to be less so they could understand him, which is not possible. He tried sometimes. I've tried, I'm sure all of you have tried to, hide certain parts of yourself so that you don't upset people, but let me move on with this. During his time with me, he's talked about Jamie Foxx. You can look on my community tab. Ice Cube, Sinead O'Connor, how this dark reptilian energy is going after all of them. Britney Spears there's so many parallels to him and Britney Spears, with the same management and lawyers and doing the exact same thing to her, trying to give her substances, trying to paint her out as being insane. And now she's going through a divorce, and I was told about her, I believe about a year ago, that she was in danger, and people were like, danger of what? And it's like, it was really hard to explain. It's like the dark reptilian energy, and it goes from person to person, and it's a group collective also. It comes in many different forms, but it is on her tail, and it sees her as vulnerable, and it is trying to take her down. And the current person it went through is her husband. And so I'm just going to name some names here that are parts of her life, his life. Gerald Cohen, the lawyer, dark reptilian. Michael Caine, dark reptilian. Frank DeLeo, dark reptilian. And let me just see. Unfortunately, because of Michael's co-occurring, however you want to put it, conditions, he had to stay out of the sun because he had vitiligo, which, slowly turns your skin very pale and makes you sensitive to the sun. But at the same time, he's African American. He needed sun. That's a message to African Americans. So him not getting sun messed up his circadian rhythms, which did mess up his sleep. Should never have taken propofol for his sleep, though. What he needed was to rest. He needed to stop performing. He was done with performing. He should have become a music manager. That's what people should do when they're he's saying washed up. He's joking. But like when they're physically, they've had it. Like when you physically had it, you should do something else. He should have gone into music management, but people would not let go. They would not let him. Well, not people, just the dark reptilian. To him, it felt like when he was here, like everybody was on his case and everybody wanted him to keep performing. People did want to always see him perform. He's amazing, but it was time. And let that be a lesson. Pay attention to your body. And also even though, you know, like Mr. Rogers says, we're all special. You're not like, how do I put it to not hurt people? Like, you're not so important to other people. Like, you're most important to yourself. It may seem like that at sometimes, like you can't let people down, but it's just hard to explain. They're not asking you to be like selfish. Galactic beings are givers. I hope I'm explaining this. Okay, so the energy of AEG, the management company, dark reptilian, guilty. He's talking about these two Johns that took a lot of his money. Dark reptilian, guilty. His will was tampered with. You can't even trust that these days. He would like someone here on Earth pass this around, someone who's qualified. He would like there to be more laws about celebrity passings, what to do to follow the money trail. He's talked to me. He thinks every person should know, whether they've been considered insane or not. Every person should know if there's an insurance policy out on them. The money should always be followed when people pass as to who it goes to. There should be, you know, there's so many lawyers in the world, and this is a type of law that we should have, and it should be considered really important. Unfortunately, where humanity is, they don't like to think about death and the dying process. It's considered morbid, and that's how people are getting away with all of this. Okay. Can't rely on business people to be in your best interest. Not that everyone's corrupt. The two Geraldine lawyers are guilty. I'm just gonna go through this. His money was mismanaged before he passed. Sometimes you repeat yourself. Sorry, guys. Oh yes, he's complaining about nobody should get continuous money from music. It should be a one-time deal if you do management. That's just common sense. But he's saying, please, if any of this resonates with you, start new laws. Do what you can. Michael would like you to know that he remained friends. He said all my exes live in Texas. He remained friends with his exes, and that's something, if you are all mature, obviously if they're not dark reptilian, it's something he's, my words, he would like to, sorry guys, promote having integrity. Friendship was the most important thing to him, and he says the basis of all relationships. Please, saying like romantic relationships have become so toxic. Like, you should be friends and a protector of your significant other. It's just ridiculous if you're not. You should not be with that person. And this goes for both sexes. It's not funny anymore. Take my wife jokes are old and tired, and you know, there's just as many henpecking, sadistic wives out there who have completely emasculated their husbands. So it goes both ways. He built a legacy for his family. He wanted his voice to be healing. We've talked about that. So, you know, when Michael came here, it was basically, to simplify it, it was the Archangels versus the dark reptilians. And Michael won some things by having galactic children, and, you know, he paid for it dearly in other ways. And, you know, he didn't know it was going to get that crazy, but he knew his mission was going to be hard. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so he wants to talk a little bit. I wrote a little bit about race. This is a very confusing thing. Many people are seeing the white race as, like, looking back and seeing them, and also Jewish race as being like the, you know, the evildoers and the enslavers. And it's not, it seems like it can be true, but it's also metaphysically, energetically not true. He's saying that, you know, it's this whole galactic starseed dark reptilian dance that even within certain cultures, certain races, every race, every group has their reptilians, has what I've talked about from each group. But what happens is the talent, the intelligence of the starseeds oftentimes gets used even in, you know, say like making weapons or making money, because talent brings in money if it's allowed to, if it's not squelched. But that brings in power, and reptilian and well, dark reptilian especially, because reptilians get taken advantage of too. Dark reptilians have manipulated the starseeds in their groups, and throughout history, different groups have had different amounts of starseeds. And what Michael would like you to understand is, if you were born into a group that at the time is a little harsher than another group, may not have as many starseeds, or starseeds that are as sensitive, because they wouldn't make it, you know, they wouldn't make it past childhood, they wouldn't make it past infancy, you know. I don't know if I'm explaining this clearly, but it's not about skin color. And I will take this message and go deeper into it. But just know that this is all spiritual warfare, and it's not a skin tone. Okay. we can see like Michael barely made it out of childhood. He left his body several times because it was the conditions were so harsh. Okay, Michael would like to let you all know that there's enough love to go around. There's a false notion that there's only so much love and you can only love so much. And yes, it's an energy, but it's just such a crazy notion, and that's why he loved every child he met as if they were his own child. And he'll explain that of like, oh, it's so strange. He thinks it's so strange that people can, you know, adopt a dog, buy a dog and love it, or love their neighbor's dogs, but we find it so strange to just love other humans that we don't know. And he did. He wants to let you all know he loved you all. He loved his fans, and he loved his enemies. He was that true, pure love. Archangel Raphael. Pray to Raphael if you would like to be healed. Pray to Metatron if you'd like to work on your entertainment. But he did truly, when people would go to his concert, they would pass out because they had not experienced that kind of love coming at them. It overwhelmed them. Okay. I want to go on with just a couple more messages. That was a really high note where I should have left it, but sorry. Okay. There are gaps in knowledge galactics need to fill in. Okay. There's this idea of he's involved on the other side as Metatron of creating music. And I'm going to continue on and let you all know in different videos in my community tab what music has been downloaded. You can probably feel it yourself, but by the Archangels. And a big example is like The Wizard of Oz was downloaded by the Archangels, but The Wiz wasn't. And even though talented people were in and made The Wiz, and Quincy Jones is a galactic being, we'll get into that sort of thing in the future. These are just some add-ons. Tommy Mottola's Dark Reptilian. Oh, and this is pretty interesting. His original accuser, Jordan Chandler, who unfortunately is in hiding and is an Arcturian. It was about his dad, Evan Chandler. So now we're just going full circle, and I promise you I'm wrapping this up. He got this idea through this friend, Victor Gutierrez, who is not only a dark reptilian, but part of, I'm just going to say, a P ring, which is little people ring. And it's crazy. It's like they were accusing Michael of stuff that they were into, and this is very common and very sick. Okay. I'm sorry about that, guys. I should have ended it on the high note with, and he said I still can. Michael, Archangel, Metatron, Archangel Raphael would like you to know that they love you and they try to come through Metatron through entertainment. Now, all of the archangels I talked about, they're all healers. They're all messengers. They all have love. But remember what I said in the beginning, and I'm going to make videos about each one. So he's Metatron and Raphael. So healing. Please, Michael is saying, please pray to him. If you need help in these areas, or just talk to him. And if you do feel like you're a medium or a galactic being and at least would like to talk to him, please do. He's around. You can talk through Archangel Eric Medhus. Say, Archangel Eric Medhus, connect me to Michael. And Eric's like, you can talk to me too. Okay guys, this is one of the longest videos. I think this might be the longest, but King of Pop, most selling records. It's the longest. If you're still here, thank you. Love from my whole team. I want to thank you all. Michael wishes he had more costume changes, but there was so much to talk about. He's doing the moonwalk backwards, sliding out. He's with so many people. Oh, he's with David Bowie. Oh, some people who are still alive, so that's weird. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you.